Hey, what is up, everybody? I was just thinking as I was getting ready for this stream, did you ever see Wayne's World when Garth puts on all the Reebok stuff and is kind of making fun of, too many logos everywhere? I kind of feel like that right now. Like, I've got my Reviews.org logo here, I've got it right there, the thing is over there. It's just reviews everywhere. But anyway, that's beside the point. Today, we are live streaming on the topic of streaming TV in 2020. We're especially going to be talking about on demand streaming. So, I'm not going to be talking too much about live TV streaming, but I will want to get your opinion on a lot of the on demand services. So, we're going to be talking about Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, yes. But the big stuff today is what we talked about in our Friday video last week. Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus, HBO Max, NBC Universal. We want to talk about how these are going to fit into the streaming landscape for you, what you are willing to pay for, what I'm going to be willing to pay for, and we will hash this out together. So hang out and make sure you pop over to the comments, which are, I think, over there for you. And I will check in on those. I always look over here, which might throw you off because I think for you it's over there. Anyway, and also I apologize. With the seasonal change, I feel like I'm a little snifflier and throat scratchier than normal. So today's episode apparently is brought to you by Fresca because I'm going to be sipping on this the whole time. Carrie Ann, hello, welcome, good day to you. I am glad that you're here, and as everybody else comes drifting in, the first thing I'd like for you to do is pop into those comments on the live chat and let me know what number you would be comfortable with on a monthly basis. Not necessarily what you are paying now, but knowing what we know about what's coming up in 2020 with Apple TV Plus, Disney Plus, HBO Max, with all the new stuff and all the old stuff combined. What do you feel like you're going to be comfortable paying in 2020 for streaming services? Is it $20? Is it 30? Is it 50? Throw a number out there for me. I'm going to be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Larry's message was retracted. Now I'm really curious what it was. I'm sure it was horrible, Larry. Horrible. Now, first thing is, before we get to what numbers to talk about, is a piece of news that came out today. Was it just today? Yeah, anyway, the news is that Seinfeld has a new streaming home. Sort of. I mean, in the future, it does. So, as you know, the classic TV shows are kind of scattering to the winds, and they're going to be on different services. So, for instance, NBC Universal is getting The Office next year when that contract is up with Netflix at the end of December. Similarly, Friends is going to HBO Max again when that contract ends at the end of December. And now Seinfeld has joined the fray, or the news cycle, I should say. Seinfeld is right now under contract with Hulu, and that's through the end of 2020. So we still have a year and a bit to go where Seinfeld is on Hulu. But they just signed a contract now, Sony, I should say, which owns the distribution rights for Seinfeld, has now signed with Netflix for 5 years starting in 2021. So Seinfeld is losing The Office, losing Friends, but they're gaining, losing The Office, losing Friends, gaining Seinfeld. So I'm curious to see if this will help stem any tides of people looking to leave. So, all right, back to my other question. We'll come back to that news in just a moment. How much are you willing to pay on a monthly basis for streaming? WWE 18 UK says £8 a month, so that'd be about $15 a month here in the US. Ariane, 20 to 30, 30 to 50 for Michelle. All right, big spender. I like you. Oh, Calvin. Oh man, I feel like it's an auction right now. $75. Can I hear 90? Let's see. Larry says, I know you don't think streaming on Fire Sticks are legal. Without it, I wouldn't have watched the new Ken Burns PBS series, Country Music Live Streaming. I'm not sure what you mean, Larry, because I do think maybe you're talking about some IPTV app or something like that. I'm not sure what you're getting at there. I love Fire Sticks. I have one on this other side of the room. Let's see, Dave and Christy, $50. So Michelle, you say for what you pay now, that's a walk in the park. Are you still on a traditional TV package? Are you paying for cable? $100, $120 a month or more? Let's see, Party Man. I have YouTube TV and like it. Good, that's great. I debated actually this football season. I debated between Hulu Live and YouTube TV. I ended up going with Hulu Live because they have more channels, more sports channels by a little bit. But I'm not loving their DVR experience the way that I like YouTube TVs, and so maybe next season I'll switch over. I'm not sure. All right, so yeah, you guys are. Michelle, yes, you do have cable and internet. Over 200 total. Oof. Well, those bundles can do that to you. I hope you have fast internet at that price and a ton of channels. I've been doing some research. I've been asking myself the question: if I'm, live streaming from home and I'm, creating stuff from home, what would happen if I wanted to work remotely out somewhere? And so every time I think of a new place to live on the Oregon coast or up in Maine or around the Great Lakes or something, first thing I always do is check for what internet connection I can get there. And it's usually not too bad if you're just looking for internet. You can usually get gig speeds around $70 a month. Anyway, so let's see. Did you hear Netflix had 200 plus people canceling their services? Well, 200 isn't very many, but does that mean 200,000? I don't know. No local cable. Okay. Well, anyway, let's go back to the Seinfeld news. I am curious about this, and so you can let me know in the chat box. Again, I think it's over there for you guys. Like I said, if you have just joined the chat, Seinfeld has now been picked up by Netflix starting in 2021. So right now it's going to be on Hulu through the end of 2020. So we got another year and then some. Then it'll be on Netflix for 5 years because Sony signed that over to Netflix. So I'm curious if this has any effect for you. If, with Friends leaving and The Office leaving, did that sour the Netflix experience for you? Because I know that it is by far the most watched thing on Netflix, or those two shows are. And now I assume Seinfeld would be a pretty big player a year from now, or a year from January. It's going to be a pretty big player. But I'm curious what your thoughts are. Does this affect, how you're thinking about Netflix, and or if you just really like the Netflix originals and you're excited to keep watching those and whatever Seinfeld's on there too. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, let me know what you think of the Seinfeld news. But I also want to talk about this news. This is the main thing that we want to talk about today, is how much you are going to be willing to pay in 2020 for streaming services. And so if we go, I'm going to pull up a PC Mag article here. And pop this over for you guys to see. So PC Mag asks, how much would you spend on streaming services a month? Surveyed 1,000 US streaming subscribers and found that customers would pay an average of $33 a month for all their streaming services combined. So I find this number interesting, and this is why polls and surveys and all that stuff, they are useful, but sometimes I'm not sure how much I buy it. Because what 40% of respondents are saying is that they're only willing to spend up to $20 a month on streaming. Right here, 40% up to $20 a month. I'm dubious. I have my doubts as to whether that's actually true, especially with the big shift going on from traditional, the cord cutting shift over to streaming services. Yeah, I'm curious how true this is actually going to turn out to be. So again, let me know in the chat box what you think of these numbers, where you fit in with this. I also have a well, I guess 2%. You can get 2% of respondents to say just about anything, but $120 plus, so 3% of people say they'd pay over $100, 7% say it's over 80, 13% over 60. So, yeah, I don't know. I have to assume, my guess is that when the dust settles, if it ever settles, honestly, when the dust settles, I think that, so this is what people say they are willing to pay. My guess is that what people will actually be willing to pay will be right here in the 41 to 60 range. So the 21 to 40 and the 41 to 60 will be the bars that jump up and are the highest when we, like I said, when we have all these new services established and people kind of have their favorites. I'm betting most people will land in this column with the 21 to 40, or maybe this one would be first and this one would be second. Either way, those will be the big ones. Angel Torres said YouTube TV and Hulu Live must not be included. I am not. Yeah, I guess not. Let's find out what they said. I don't know what their methodology was. I think they were probably just asking about on-demand services. But if this, most of the time when you publish survey results, you're supposed to publish the exact question that you asked, and so maybe they didn't specify, how much are you willing to pay per month for all your streaming services combined. If anybody wants live TV, wham, that puts you right there in the 41 to 60 box right away. And that's not counting Netflix, that's not counting Amazon Prime, that's not counting anything else, just your live TV streaming most of the time. Obviously, there are exceptions to that, I know, but most of the time that'll land you in the 41 to 60 range. So it's interesting. Let's see. Calvin, I'll come back to HBO Max and HBO Now. Just a sec. Let's see. Carrie Ann says, I pay $20 at the moment for the bare bottom dish. Does that mean like the lowest tier service that they provide? Miss AMC. I get it. Let's see. Peepaw's Wrath? I don't know how to say that. I can't wait for the day to cancel Netflix. I pay for the most expensive because of the multiple streams and 4K content. Yeah, for me, it's more about the streams than the 4K. But that's just me. As soon as The Office leaves, then I think I'll cancel it. Interesting. Hello, King Bees. So Big Bang Theory is season 6. Big Bang Theory was CBS. Is that right? Somebody tell me if I'm crazy here. I think Big Bang Theory is a CBS show, so you gotta assume that would be on CBS All Access going forward, as long as they own the distribution rights, which I believe they do. All right, because that's one thing that's kind of confusing sometimes, is that the network that ran the show when it aired may not be the network that has the streaming rights. So that's why Seinfeld, which is kind of an iconic NBC show, isn't going to be on NBC Universal for the next 6 years, because the streaming rights are actually owned by Sony, because it was produced by Castle Rock Pictures, it's now defunct, but owned by Sony. It's a whole mess. Point being, I think Big Bang Theory is going to be on CBS. All right. So Caleb, you're saying up to $50. Half your old cable price, yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that as more and more people cut the cord, kind of the lagging indicators will be the people who waited a little while to cut the cord, and so those will be the people that probably had higher services subscriptions to begin with. If you're with Dish or Xfinity or whoever, you might have had an upper tier package that you didn't quite want to get rid of, and so then when you finally do cut the cord, or if you have to cut the cord at a certain point, then that it's kind of like the opposite of sticker shock, where you're like, oh my gosh, $55 or $70, that's half what I was paying before. And all the other cord cutters are going to be like, that's a lot of money to pay for streaming. But for somebody who's used to the really high the really high packages from other providers, they're going to be pretty stoked about it. Okay. You guys, you want to hashtag cancel Netflix? Huh? I still think they have a lot to offer. Quite frankly, I'm still a Netflix fan. Let's see. Trending hashtag on Twitter. Oh, interesting. I didn't see that this morning. Again, if you're just joining me, I apologize. I keep sipping. My throat is pretty scratchy, and I want to keep things, keep things moist. There's everybody's favorite word. So sorry about that. Okay, so let's have a look now that we may come back to that PC Mag article, but I want to have a look at this screen right here. So I took the liberty of putting together, and you may have seen some of this on the Friday video that we put out, streaming in 2020. It's kind of a similar theme, but I wasn't able to get everybody else's thoughts. That's what these live streams are great for. But similar thing here, I put together all of the costs that we know of, and we're guessing on a few of them, and I'll tell you about those. But the Disney Plus bundle, you can separate that out, call it $7 a month for Disney Plus, and $6 for Hulu, and $5 for ESPN Plus, but put them all together, $13. Netflix, that's the middle option, $13 for the HD with 2 simultaneous streams. HBO Max, $16, and don't worry, was it Caleb? I have not forgot about the Calvin. Yeah, Calvin, the HBO Max versus HBO Now. Let's come back to that in a second. Prime Video, I think if you sign up for Prime, Amazon Prime, you have to do it on a yearly basis, and what it works out to is like $9.92 a month, and so I just rounded that up to 10. Excuse me. Apple TV Plus has been announced now at $5 a month. I hope you all saw this. If you haven't, then that might come as a shock. It came as a shock to me. I expected it to be much more, but Apple TV, well, Apple is the richest company in the world as far as cash assets, as far as I know, and they, or I should say, cash reserves, so Apple is able to say, yeah, we're going to produce all these mega TV shows and offer for $5 a month and take a huge loss on it because we have our entire other business propping this up. They have no problem with that. Kind of similar with Disney Plus offering things for so cheap. NBC Universal is a huge question mark. I put $10 on here, but I do not know that is going to be the price. I'm taking a guess that it will be either... so we know that it will be free for cable subscribers. One of those things where if you log into the app using your cable credentials, then you can get it for free. And then they'll offer an option for you to get that paid as well. I assume that paying for NBC Universal will be probably $5 or $10. Say $5, similar to Hulu, right? Say $5-ish. Or commercial supported, and then they are offering a commercial free version, and so call it $10. I'm not sure exactly what that price is going to be. They haven't announced it. I'm just extrapolating from all the other data that we have and guessing that that's probably about what we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to come back to this number and just explain really quickly for Calvin. Said HBO Max and HBO Now has me confused. You're not the only one. It took me a while to get a handle on it, even after I started really digging into streaming services a year or two ago. There's HBO. That's what you can get added onto your TV subscription wherever, Dish or Xfinity or whatever. You just add HBO. If you do that, then you can watch it in the HBO Go app. So HBO Go is your regular HBO subscription on the go. HBO Now is the standalone version of HBO. So it's $15 a month, but you don't have to have a cable subscription. You don't have to have anything else. It's just a straight up streaming option. And $15 a month. And then HBO Max, which is beta testing sometime later this year and then will be released officially early next year, is going to be HBO Now plus a bunch of other stuff. Original programming, some stuff that AT&T now owns, older programs. I've done videos on them, and I apologize, I don't have the link for that right away, or I would put that in the chat, but maybe we can find that a little bit later. Anyway, so that's the deal with all of the different HBOs. I don't know exactly what's going to happen to HBO Now and HBO Go once HBO Max comes out. My hope is that it will wipe everything, at least wipe away HBO Now and just replace it with HBO Max, because it's all too confusing. Anyway, okay, so I want to go back over here because I feel like I saw some people saying that you would pay this. Let's see. Okay, yep, I lost the thread of what you guys were saying. So if you asked me any questions and I missed them, I'm sorry. You'll have to ask me again. I couldn't quite keep up. But I'm loving all the comments that you guys were putting in there. That's great. So, CBS All Access, Joe, has not been mentioned. That's a great call out. If we want to add CBS All Access in there, what is it? $5 or $7 a month? I am blanking. Let's look it up right now. Yeah, right now, okay, $6 a month for CBS All Access, and so we could add that in there. Call it $73 a month. If you wanted that with CBS All Access, yeah, I should. They don't come to mind as readily as some of these other services, but they probably should. I should keep that service in mind. So my apologies. All right, and I saw. Oh, that's right. Party Man said true. Let's see. No live TV is a deal breaker. And I want to come back to that comment in just a moment. Sinister Salad stumbled across your channel just a bit ago. Well, great. I'm glad to have you here. Helping a friend cut the cord tonight. They already have Prime, so we got them a Fire Stick 4K for now. That's great. Yeah, if they have Prime, that's gonna be an awesome way to do it. That's what I did with my mom. She and my dad have not yet actually cut the cord, but they bought a little smart TV for the kitchen. And they were trying to figure out what TV to get, and I just said get an Amazon Fire TV. So far so good. So Party Man, you say no live TV is a deal breaker. I am curious about that. And what I'm curious about specifically is if you're referring to anything other than sports, because from what I can tell, and from my own experience and from what people say in our comments sections and elsewhere, from what I can tell, the only reason really, I'm going to bring this back up here, the only reason at this point to keep live TV is sports. For some people, they might include cable news as well, which, I have thoughts about that I'll probably keep to myself. But even with cable news, a lot of those, whether it's MSNBC or Fox News or CNN, they put a lot of their segments now on apps. And so there's a part of me that's like, well, can you just watch it there? I'm not sure. Haven't tried to do much of that myself. So for me, it's just sports. And that is why right now I've got Hulu with live TV. I signed up for that for the football season. But as soon as football season's over, I'm out, because and once football is caught up to the rest of the major sports as far as streamability, then I'm not even going to do that. When I can watch NFL and NCAA football games on a streaming platform, or I should say something that's not a package like Hulu Live, YouTube TV, Sling TV. As soon as I can get a standalone version of it, I'm out. I'm done with those. But yeah, I'm curious about that. Let's see. Just want to make sure that I'm hitting everybody there. So King Bees, you think you would pay this? All right. Ibrahim, you don't like watching sports? Well, I think did I see earlier you said you're in Israel? I don't know. Maybe it's less of a thing. We Americans love our sports. It's true. Let's see. CBS access will probably be absorbed into the upcoming Paramount streaming service, giving CBS and Viacom emerging back together. That is a distinct possibility. I have heard no rumblings about that yet, but you never know. You never know. Okay, I wish all these services had annual subscription options. Here's a great one to dig into. I kind of wish that as well. Well, okay, no, I should say this. Yes, I wish they did have that option. With Prime Video, that's kind of, it's not your only option, but it's the only option that makes any sense. You can technically get Prime Video as a standalone, I think for $9 a month, but if you sign up for 1 year of Amazon Prime, including all the shipping and everything, then it comes out to like $10 a month, or just under that. And so it doesn't make any sense to look at the monthly cost on that. But I love the option of paying monthly and being able to cancel anytime and not have to pay for the rest of the year. But I do also like the option of knowing that I'm going to be using something for a long time and paying a little bit discounted rate. So Disney Plus is a good example of that. $7 a month or $70 a year is a great way to go about it. I just, I guess I agree with you. I probably, for some of these, like for Hulu, I really only sign up for Hulu if there's something very specific that I want to watch. And so I would want to have that kind of on a month-to-month basis so that I could yank that whenever. But Netflix, I've had Netflix now for years and years, and I plan on having it for a long time to come. And so, yeah, it'd be great if I had an annual option. All right. Let's see. Excuse me. Yeah, you guys, I apologize. Olivia, sports person with DirecTV for the NFL package. Yes, absolutely. And this is, I did this for a previous video. I want to say it was a month or two ago. And boy, did I get savaged by a few people in the comments when I mentioned that, it's not crazy to stick with traditional TV in at least one case. And that is exactly the case I was thinking of. If you are a huge NFL fan, then DirecTV is pretty awesome for watching the NFL. And, I ran some numbers and came up with numbers like this, 67, I should say, sorry. I came up with numbers like this, added everything up together over a 2-year period, just like you would pay for a traditional TV service. And it came out to be, like I said, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but not crazy to stick with traditional TV for certain situations, football being a big one. So, with DirecTV, and you can get NFL Sunday Ticket and all that, and it's pretty great. Speaking of which, if you are football fans, like I was just saying a minute ago, I'm really hoping that that football will catch up to the rest of the major sports as far as having a standalone streaming app that you don't have to subscribe to 50 or 100 other channels to get your football fix. NFL Sunday Ticket this year, if you are a student, is available nationwide. So right now the way it works is they'll only let you get it as a standalone streaming service if you are deemed ineligible to get DirecTV. So if you live out in the middle of nowhere, or if you have blockage on your property where the satellite signal won't reach you, or whatever the case may be, and they say, oh, DirecTV, you can't get DirecTV, you can get a standalone service. But otherwise, you've been out of luck if you want to just get NFL Sunday Ticket. But now they're giving that to students. If you can prove that you're a student, they'll let you do the NFL Sunday Ticket streaming package, all standalone. Personally, I think that means that that's probably going to be launched to everybody as soon as next year. That'd be really nice. We will see. Anyway, let's see. Joe, have you checked out the Lowcast app? I haven't. If you want to throw a link on there, maybe I can, or if you email info@reviews.org, I can check that out. Calvin, you like Shudder for horror movies? That is a good one. With really niche ones like that, somebody was asking me on Friday's video about BET Plus. Then you got Shudder for horror movies. There's lots of like kind of niche or smaller streaming services that I don't tend to talk about. I usually go for stuff that's going to be more broad interest when we talk about stuff on the channel. So if I got into every single streaming app out there, it would take me years and years, and I'd fall behind on all the other news. So, Evan, welcome back. Glad to have you. Let's see. Calvin, have you reviewed Curiosity Stream for documentaries? Really good. Kind of similar thing. So I hope what I just said kind of applies there. I haven't reviewed it. I've seen it and dipped into it, and it does seem really good, but no, I haven't reviewed it yet. So yeah, you guys need to send me a link for Lowcast, or I'll go look it up. But that's good to know. Okay, so now that Evan is here, it's time for us to end the stream. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Hi, Evan. And I do want to go maybe for just a few more minutes, and so if you guys have any other questions, and I'll pull this back up. Ultimately, yeah, I was gonna say if you have any other questions, throw them in the chat box, and I'll try to get to them. But ultimately, the point of today is to question how much you're going to be willing to pay for streaming services here coming up in 2020, because I'm going to pull up that PC Mag article again. They're saying that customers say that they'd pay an average of $33.27 a month. I think that's really lowballing it for what we'll all end up being willing to pay. And this one I thought was really interesting. How much are you willing to pay per streaming service per month? And $6 to $10 again seems really low. I think this is people saying, oh, I'd prefer to only pay $6 to $10 a month. But when Netflix says, hey, that HD stream is going to be $13 a month, they're like, oh, okay, no problem. When Disney Plus comes out and says, hey, we're going to bundle everything for $13, you're like, yeah, I'll do that. Of course, I guess that's 3 streaming services at once. Or when HBO Max comes out and says, hey, I know it's been $15, but look at this, all this new stuff that you're going to get for just $2 more a month. Again, we don't know the price on that, but that's been the rumors, $16 or $17. Then 8%. I don't know. I feel like there will be more streamers willing to take those deals, but maybe I'm wrong. All right, Kamran Ali, talk about Titans season 2. I can't. I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. All right. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys have to say. So hit the chat. Let me know what not what you want to pay for streaming, but what you really will be willing to pay for streaming. And that'll be the last thing we do while I answer Evan's question. Do you have a streaming service preference? It depends on what you're talking about. Are you talking about live TV streaming? Or are you talking about on-demand streaming? Because they are going to be very different. I can tell you that I use and love Netflix. I use Prime Video. I did like watching The Boys, but they haven't had a ton of content specific to Prime Video that I've really enjoyed. So I use those two. And I'm planning on signing up for Disney Plus. I'll probably get the bundle. We'll see. But I am excited for Disney Plus. As far as live TV streaming services go, my 2 top for the last 6 months or so have been Hulu Live and YouTube TV. Not that they're without fault, but those are, for me, the best experience. Although, I've always loved that Sling TV it gives you the choice of a lower cost option. So, yeah, it kind of pushes you toward the orange plus blue package, so it pretty much costs the same as everything else eventually, but you have the option of cutting one or the other, orange or blue, and I like having those options, so I've always liked Sling for that. As long as that's the case, then I will like that. All right. So, Kamran Disney PG-13 above movies coming on Hulu. Yeah, so Hulu will be a little more oriented toward adults than Disney Plus is. Uh, I don't know that they'll do a ton of um, I don't know that they'll do a ton of rated R content. I think they'll probably leave that to the Netflix and Amazon Prime. But yeah, stuff that's a little, a little on more on the adult side would probably go to Hulu. Okay. Caleb, update yours realistically, probably pay about 75 bucks. And remind me, were you saying earlier that live TV has got to be on the menu? Because if so, 67 bucks might not cut it. Then if you were to get all of these plus live TV, then you're looking at over 100 bucks. So, all right. I'm going to go ahead and call it there, you guys. If you don't know, I do this every Monday. So if you're subscribed and you've got that bell icon activated, then you'll get a notification every time I start one of these live streams. Really appreciate it if you do that. Love having you here. What this does for you, hopefully I hope this gives you a chance to get a little bit of information and have a little fun chatting with each other. What it does for me is those things, plus it gives me a chance to get some feedback from you guys on what you're thinking with the news of the day. I kind of want the next one. I'm thinking about branching out of streaming and talking about some internet service provider issues. I filmed an Xfinity review recently. Xfinity Internet. I'm not talking about TV on that one. And I made some controversial statements in that review. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. Make sure you comment on that video and make sure that you're around for these live videos. I love having you here. And let's see. Okay, I think we're good. So thanks for chatting, everybody. I will see you next Monday. Have a good one.